Chapter 12.2 Socioeconomic Status and Poverty. You can find this section on pages 399 to 404 in our textbook. What is socioeconomic status? Socioeconomic status is a grouping of people with similar occupational, educational, and economic characteristics associated with varying levels of power, influence, and prestige. Parents in higher socioeconomic status families tend to have different parenting strategies than those in lower socioeconomic status families. Higher socioeconomic status parents are equal participants in rulemaking with their children and have more conversations with them. Lower socioeconomic status parents are authoritarian and have fewer conversations with their children. Children who grow up in a low socioeconomic status environment are prone to low achievement, emotional problems, depression, low self-confidence, peer conflict, juvenile delinquency, and lower occupational attainment. They are also more likely to attend schools that have fewer resources. So what is poverty like? The term poverty threshold refers to the estimated cost of food for a basic diet multiplied by 3. When a family makes less than this wage, they are deemed to be living in poverty because spending more than a third of your income on food is considered unacceptable. In Canada, the poverty threshold, or low income cutoff, is also dependent on the size of the community in which the family is living. Canada has a child poverty rate of about 16%. These stats are from 2006 and differ from those in our textbook. There are much higher rates of poverty in single-mother households as opposed to two-parent families. And children who are ethnic minorities are more likely to experience persistent poverty living in poor neighborhoods with minimal support. Adolescents living in poverty are often vulnerable to disaster, read below their grade level, and experience more conflict, violence, instability, and chaos in their lives. They are more prone to running away from home and have more school-related risks and problems such as dropping out of school and higher rates of delinquency. As mentioned before, far more women than men live in poverty. This is a phenomenon referred to as the feminization of poverty. There are many causes of this, one of which is the wage discrepancy between males and females. Now, reading and learning about poverty is one thing, but witnessing it is another. At the top right of the Mahara page is a link to the Alberta Teachers Association's December 2011 newsletter, Just in Time. On page 5 of that newsletter is an anonymously submitted article from an Alberta teacher about poverty in her school. The following is a reading of that article.
In my school, poverty is a 15-year-old student sitting in front of me with $150 running shoes and a Roots t-shirt telling me there is no food in his house and hasn't been for 3 days. He says he will go to his aunt's that night. She will have food. In my school, poverty is a dying student in a wheelchair who has to be toileted. The teacher assistants tell me that he wears men's large underwear on his emaciated body, so they buy him smaller underwear and some warm socks too. Each day they put new socks on his feet and send him home with another 2 mitts. His hair is always dirty and he's not washed. I call a social worker. He tells me that he went to the house and found that the family has no running water. The parents must go next door to the neighbor's place for water and have to lay the child on the living room floor with a bowl to wash his hair because he's getting too heavy to lift. The teacher assistants start washing his hair and brushing his teeth at school. They buy him Boost and ensure to drink. He likes the chocolate ones. In my school, poverty is a pregnant teen. I ask her to talk to the health nurse about a proper diet during pregnancy. One day she's excited because they have money and her parents are going shopping that night. She comes back the next day embarrassed and disappointed because her parents came home from the shopping expedition with only chips and pop. The ladies in the office make a deal with the cafeteria manager to pay for the girl to have hot, nutritious lunch each school day. In my school, poverty is the bus driver who phones the school to report that even though it's been freezing cold for 2 weeks, he has not seen any sign that The furnace is running at the student's house. I call and the social worker goes to tell them that there is a way to get money to pay their gas bill. In my school, Poverty is the bright young grade 9 girl who has barely ever shown up. The ladies in the office buy a certificate for a free cafeteria breakfast if she comes before 9:30. She's hungry and she turns up most days. I'm happy to say that last year she graduated. In my school, Poverty is 2 Christmas angels, our librarian and head secretary. They collect money and amazingly manage to buy enough food for struggling families to have a week's worth of groceries at Christmas. They stay late at school each night so parents can pick up their hamper with anonymity. Some parents arrive smelling of liquor. One single father relies on the hampers for years as his 3 children pass through our school. The children tell us their mother lives in a car. Last year, his final child was in grade 12. A Christmas card from the father arrived at the school. Inside were $20 and a note saying thank you. He wanted to help another family after having received help himself. In my school, Poverty is a formal spring dance where normally the girls wear long dresses and boys wear dress pants with white shirts. The kids from 2 local foster homes also come. There are 7 of them in all. They wear old jeans and sweatshirts. The courts have decided that their legal guardian is the government of Alberta. Their clothing allowance went to winter boots, coats, and underwear. Their legal guardian does not give money for dresses or shirts for a spring school dance. The kids spend the night standing together by themselves. In my school, Poverty is a deaf mother who has moved here from another province to escape an abusive relationship. She has spent all of her money and has no food. The assistant principal calls a local pastor who drives her to see a social worker an hour away. A local school trustee says she will talk to the landlord for the woman. The head secretary finds money and gives it to her for groceries. In my school, some parents show up with grocery bags full of juice boxes and granola bars for the kids who haven't had breakfast or lunch. These parents ask for anonymity. In the face of deprivation and suffering, I can say that I work with amazing people who do regular acts of kindness to fight poverty and discrimination to help young people and their families. In my school, we are rich.
As outlined in the previous article, there are many ways a community can band together to help fight poverty. Success has been found when 2-generation interventions are used, where services are provided to both children and their parents. There are links to local anti-poverty initiatives on the Borders of the Mahara page, including information on the Edmonton School Lunch Program and how you can donate.